This is Vagabond Investors September market update. Jaakko, what's going on in the markets at the moment?
Well, quite a lot of things have happened during the past month. First of all, financial forecasts have been adjusted downwards virtually all over the world, especially in the euro area. Many people now believe that the economy may be in worse shape than they thought previously. I find very interesting what Mr. Albert Edwards from Societe Generale said. He had a pretty gloomy forecast. He believes that the S&P will bottom at 500 points and that oil will drop to $60 per barrel. He further goes on to say that the dollar will rally back to 1.35 and that the US bond yields would be 2%. Now, I have some reservations about that, but I think it's a forecast worth mentioning here. And the second thing is that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were nationalized, and I think that's pretty big news for the American taxpayer. If I were American, I would be mad about that.
So Jaakko, what do you think is going to happen next?
Well, as an investor and an entrepreneur, I don't think it's my job to actually forecast markets, but as I've been saying on previous videos, I think that the global liquidity is tightening at the moment. I'm seeing tightening lending standards. I think that the credit growth is contracting at the moment. I think that this will lead to a decline in US consumption, and further on, this means that the exports from China and US are going to slow down. And because they're slowing down, I think there's going to be weaker demand for commodities in the second half of this year, 2008. So resource-producing countries will slow down, and they might even enter recession. And I think that the credit crisis in the US, relative tightening of global liquidity, will hit all asset markets. And in my opinion, what this means is, logically, is a global slump. Where it really hurts is the world's manufacturing centers, so those countries that have expanded rapidly in the recent years. And I believe that central banks all around the world are, well, I believe that they will cut their key interest rates. And this will also happen in the euro area, despite the fact that the ECB is saying that they won't lower the key interest rates, but watch, it will happen. So this lowering of interest rates and the fact that the global liquidity is contracting, I think that it will be supportive for the US dollar on the short term.
But you've been critical about US dollar in the long term.
Yes, that's right. I am bearish about the US dollar on the long term. Now, let's just for a while play with the thought that Mr. Edwards put out on his extremely bearish forecast. As I said, I have some reservations about that, but if it should happen, I mean, what if it happens? So let's play with that for a while. If the S&P would approach that 500 level, what do you think would happen under that scenario? I'm pretty confident, and Ben and Hank would act out, and the Fed would further lower their key interest rate to 1%. So they might have to nationalize institutions like they nationalized Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And under such extreme situation, the US budget deficit could be $1 trillion. I mean, it could be $2 trillion. Who knows? So under that scenario, we would see weakness in the US dollar, and further strength in commodities would certainly appear.
But you are not expecting that to happen.
No, I'm not that bearish.
But you are expecting global slump.
Yes, I'm expecting that.
So, do you really see that there is no investment opportunities at the moment in the markets?
Well, as I always say, it's not about the market, it's about the investor. There are always opportunities. As I said, it's not my job to forecast the market, but as an investor, the way I see it, for example, under these scenarios that we outlined, if the dollar is going to rally up for now, there's one opportunity. And if it turns out to be a sucker's rally so that it's going down again, there's another opportunity. And if commodity prices are to correct now and under the scenario I just talked about, and they would gain strength later on, there is an opportunity for you. And a technical investor always finds something they can make a profit on. I mean, just a simple example is that if you use call options on a bull market, you can just use put options on a bear market. I mean, it's not that difficult. I also believe that over the long term, oil prices won't go as low as the extremely depressed levels they were in 1999 and 2000. I don't believe in that. My stance is still that they will go higher and much higher from today's levels. So I think there's always something you can invest on.
So Jaakko, what do you think about the banking sector in the near future?
Well, everything can happen there. I can tell you my stance. I've been playing put games on the banking sector for the past 6 months, so that's my stance.
All right, thank you, Jaakko. And see you on our website.